Learn to be super successful. Subscribe to my channel, Meathead. And when my kids make them cry, now it's easy for me to make these assholes cry. I can make them cry easy. But when you make them cry, I know that I've done my job. I've done my job. Now, but if they cry and don't give you the money, then that's no good. So some of the guys just got to go around beating up bankers because the bankers have fucked them all their life. But you got to remember, leadership is me getting you to do what I want you to do when I want you to do it. That's leadership. And once you get, so now you've got 3 or 4 or 5 banks that have told you 2 to 4 times EBITDA in the lending market. Okay? And they may ask you, well, what vertical are you involved? Home health. Oh, and then they're going to say 1.5 to 3 times EBITDA. Okay? Fine. That's it. Stop talking. Did you get 5 or 6 of these? So you know that the average on the market in Manchester or in Edinburgh is 2 to 4. You take the highest and the lowest, 2 to 4 times EBITDA. So now you have this benchmark. So now when you're talking to motivated sellers, it's 2 to 4. They lock on to 4. After due diligence, you wind up paying 1.5, 2, 2.5. And then you want 4 or 5 or 6 of these in the pipeline to have a board meeting. Because now when you got 4, 5, or 6, you have something to talk about. And just as Andreas, and that thing I gave you about his board meeting, that's as good as you're going to see. I've seen maybe 1 or 2 better in 20 years, but that's fucking good. It's a secret sauce. Remember, that the fucking you fuckers don't get. I mean, that's dynamite. And so now you go back to the sellers. You have the board meeting again, and you have all the incorporation and management contracts and all the bullshit. And another thing you're going to be asked by the board members, in addition to, if I can add value, subject to conflicts, I'm interested. Remember? But they may, and this is a legitimate question, are you going to have D&O insurance? Directors and officers insurance. That's a legitimate question. They're not jerking you around. Because 40% of directors, this is not European number, 40% directors in America got sued in 2017. Outside, for whatever they got sued. So in this country, normally directors don't get sued too often, unless there's grand malfeasance or something. So, but some of the directors may ask you about directors and officers insurance, meaning you're insuring them that if they fuck up, or even if they don't fuck up, if they're sued by some irate supplier or shareholder, they're covered. And it's cheap, directors and officers insurance. You can get $10 million, well, this is an old number, don't hold me to it. You can get $10 million worth of directors' office insurance for, 10 grand a year, 15 grand a year. It's cheap money. So you tell them, yes, when we incorporate, we're going to have D&O insurance. And when we cash flow, we will pay the normal compensatory expenses of a directorship. When you cash flow, not now when you're sucking off a fucking tailpipe. And then, then you have the board meeting, and you live through the board meeting, and we'll spend more time at the board meeting tomorrow. You live through the board meeting, you got through, and believe me, when you get through your first board meeting, you'll think, and it's just the first step. You haven't bought anything yet. You'll think, fuck, so far so good. You haven't slept on a banana peel, and you're falling down on your head. And then, when you buy one of these things, then you'll think, fuck, why haven't I been doing this 25 fucking years? Because you'll do the mental permutations for yourself. I could have some money, as Sally would say, money. And it's that. But it's hard work. Please, I'm not trying to discount the work involved. But you've heard these guys, and these aren't my Thomas is a star. But I got a stable of a lot bigger hitters than this. They won't talk to you. Because they consider you competition. I don't, because I know there's enough deals for everybody. They don't believe that. I've got German mentees that wouldn't, and you go to Germany, if your face was on fire and you had 2 babies in your arms, they wouldn't piss on your face. Because here Dan trained up another goddamn Nazi to compete with me. That's how yeah, those are my words, not their words. We have a very deep well, or bench, as they say, of high-performance guys. So I know more or less what the pulse of the market is at all times, because I've got these kids running around from South America, South Africa. And so now you've had that board meeting, you've gotten the approval of the board to go out and run and gun and close these deals. And you do. And a couple board meetings a year is enough. We have some guys only have 1 board meeting. Now with the Corona, I mean, I don't have another board meeting scheduled. I've already canceled a couple board meetings. I was going to go in person till next year. They're going to be virtual on YouTube or Zoom. And a lot of the people now, the older farts, I told you, rather go to the city. I told you the reason why they like to go to the city, but you don't have to. And the airline business, I don't feel sorry for anybody, but I mean, corporate travel is down 90%, 95%. Corporate business travel. Now it's funny. A lot of business guys, when they go, they travel business class or first class. When they travel on their own nickel, it's coach. It just, Sally and I won't fly unless there's a first class section, and now we're going to start renting planes again. But if you've got the money, now's the time to have a plane. Before it was tough to justify a plane because of the expense, even to me. Okay, so now you've done this, and you've done a few. And remember, you're spending 95% of your time looking for money and deals. And it's very difficult when you've run a business all your life to step back from the management of it. Unfortunately, most of the time you're going to be disappointed on the people that you turn over management to. And even though they've worked with you 5 or 10 years. Because you haven't really held them accountable. You'll be disappointed in their lack of performance. And it'll be harder for you to get rid of them because you've got baggage with them. Especially if they're related to you. And that's just the way. And I know all of you guys that have business are living out of the businesses. You're paying everything out of company expenses. I know that. That's got to stop. That does stop. Can't do that anymore with the new thing. That's why, for those of you that have jobs or have a business, milk it, work it until you've done your first 4 or 5 deals and you can pay yourself out of the new business and then step away like Anelli did, or in some cases just close it down. But you can't be paying for your kids' tuition out of the new entity. Because when you're going to go buy these companies, you're going to see that's what they do. And they're going to say, well, I pay my wife 400,000 pounds a year. She must be a great fuck because she's not doing anything in the business. And so when you start adding these back or subtracting them, depending on what it is, and they realize, well, fuck this, I'm not making any money here, other than supporting my 2 daughters that have, spread their legs too much, that got kids with no husbands, my half-foot brother, but I'm not making any money. Well, that's not my problem. I'll buy the business based on this. And that's why you've got to ascertain the difference between a prospect and a suspect. A prospect is somebody that you can buy. A suspect is somebody that will return your call. And then you just keep doing it, like Andreas I think he's on 8 or 9 now. I don't remember. I should. I'm the chairman, But I'm not embarrassed that I don't know. Because I'm a 60,000-foot guy. I mean, I don't know a lot of the details. I know we're headed towards the goal line or not. I know that much. I know at what rate we're headed towards the goal line or not. And the more deals you do, you should be accelerating at an accelerated pace. Because the more deals you do, the more you know how to do them. And you should get them done quick. Like the guy that did 23 deals last year, Marcus Bauer. He's a machine. I mean, literally a machine. But Marcus, you just got married. That normally is death to a rising star. Marcus assures me that's not going to be the case. I hope from his lips to Allah's ears. And then you just keep doing it. You just keep doing it. Any questions? Yes, sir, in the back.
Will we have the profiles of the board members in the templates and material? What kind of
Well,
people?
no, I don't get... You get the profiles from them. I don't write the profile, you mean?
What kind of people do we have to look for exactly?
Well, no. Well, you want, again, this is for all board members. You want guys that have been involved in companies that have grown doing deals. You want M&A. That's what you want. M&A. Even a chief technology officer, which I'm not recommending you need one, but you want people that have been involved in growth. Because growth and rolling out and et cetera is a different game. We're not talking about manufacturing. Well, I don't like manufacturing. I don't like it. Those businesses are too hard. You got to really be good to make money in manufacturing. And I haven't been so successful in it, so I have a bias against it. But you want people that have been involved in businesses that have grown, that have not been in trouble, not gone to jail, et cetera, like I've said, okay, that have big Rolodexes. That means big contact files. Like in places in the Netherlands, in Ireland, everybody knows every fucking buddy. Now that's a slight exaggeration, but not much of one. It used to be, I don't know, there used to be 15 or 20 families in Ireland that were the shakers and movers. I don't know how many now, but when I was there was 15 or 20 of them. And they knew what the other guy had for lunch. Because they all had moles in the other guy's organization. They had a fourth cousin by a rape of something or other in the other guy's business. So they knew everything. Now that's a little too much clandestine shit for me. But it works for them, so God bless them. But you want people that have been involved in doing deals. Nobody else. Now, what about, okay, a kid that just got out of graduate school, or a kid that just graduated uni, or a kid that just finished his A-levels is not what you want. I don't care how fucking smart they are. Because they don't have the skill set yet. Now, I've had people, not recently, that come to work for me for a year for free. They just got out of big schools with an MBA or something. But you're not, you're paying them with some time, but you're not paying them with money. But those kids, I don't care how bright they are. They graduated number 1 in their class. That's not what you want. You want guys that have sat across the table and done deals. And you want guys that aren't afraid. Now, I've got a big personality, I understand, but you want guys that aren't afraid to tell you, Mr. P, did you ever consider this? I'm not so sure that works in Ireland. Or I'm not so sure that works in Bulgaria. That's a nice way of saying it doesn't fucking work in Bulgaria or it doesn't fucking work in Ireland. Yeah, okay, maybe it's changed. I haven't been in Ireland 20 years, and maybe you're right. Okay, I'm listening. I'm listening. But you want people that have been involved in deals to answer your question for board members. There's another hand. Yes, sir.
Say you've got PwC on your executive summary, but if you do a deal under 2 or 3 million, the board's going to do the due diligence. Do the bank, what's the situation? Because the bank...
No, you tell, PwC will tell you, we're too much money for this little deal. No, the bank won't think anything. The bank or utility, PwC said that they were too expensive for this deal. They're not going to run away just because, you didn't let them do the first £1 million or $1 million deal. They know that. They know that better than you because they do not want to price themselves out of the market. Because you do a £1 million deal and PwC wants £300,000 for the deal. Fuck, that's a bad taste in your mouth, right? Okay. The board are going to say, well, fuck, we got to take another look at another auditor. So then they don't want to do that. And plus, when you get bills, the reason why you have an in-house accountant, in-house lawyer, when the bill comes from PwC, you give it to your in-house accountant, they send it to them first. And then he comes to you or she comes in and says, oh, I mean, they're over the top. They gouged us. But I'll have a quiet word. I never knew what a quiet word meant either when I got here first. I'll have a quiet word with Joe over at PwC. What do you mean? Fuck, you triple billed us, you asshole. And then the bill normally gets changed. But once they issue the bill, see, depending on whether you're a cash or accrual accounting, when they send out the bill, that's revenue. So you don't want them to send the fucking bill. Everything's draft. Oh, that's another thing. Everything draft. Everything draft across it first. Because then it's not revenue, it's a draft. After you agree the fucking bill, then it comes the final bill. The real bill. But you want a draft. Because once they send you a bill, and it's a regular bill, then they got, how are we going to write this off, blah, blah, blah. So you want, remember, draft. You want draft documents. Draft, it's really important. And they'll understand, but see, they should be telling you this. They should. But, some of you look like you just fell off the turnip truck. You look like you're naive, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. And in some cases, because you're young, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. So I'm not saying they'll take advantage of you, but if you allow it, you'll get taken advantage of. You'll get taken advantage of. Some of, I didn't even show you the emails from the 12, 13, 14, 16, and 10-year-old. You're going to get those in your thing. But they say, now when those kids go, they get fucked over. Are you going to listen to a 10-year-old? No. Even if he's a fucking genius, right? No. There's no fucking way, right? Well, look at Josh is 10. Or maybe not. How old does Josh look to you? 15, 8. Okay. He only got asked about his age when he did his 4th transaction. 4th. And I believe it was a jealous banker. Young kid. Because now he doesn't get asked. But he's just a kid. We all know 17, 18, 19, we don't know shit, right? If he was Jesus Christ, Jesus didn't know shit when he was 17, 18, 19. Yes, in the back.
Yeah, when recruiting board members, when you start...
Could you speak into the mic so we can hear you, please?
Is it on?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so when recruiting board members, when you start with B players for practice, how do you get rid of them if they say yes?
Okay, I can't. Can you speak? I can't hear you.
Yeah, so when you recruited board members, when you start with B players for practice, they say yes?
Oh, you mean the potential board members that say yes and then you don't want them?
Yeah.
Okay. As the Arab terrorist said the first day, I write them a nice email. Thank you very much, but it's not the right fit. There's different phrases they use now, so you can preclude getting sued. I don't worry about those phrases, but one of the phrases that's used is it's not the right fit. We're not the right fit. Now, I don't know what that means, but somehow they know that means they're fired. Okay? Very seldom, you're a worthless piece of shit, you're sacked. That doesn't happen. For me, it does still today. Yesterday, as a matter of fact. But they don't do it that way. So you just tell them that's not the right fit. Sorry for the time. We appreciate it. That's it. That's it. Yes, in the back.
If you start doing your first deals, who of the board members, the guys, do you bring to the seller? you go alone or?
Oh, no. We're going to, tomorrow, we're going to go through, when you go, of course, now, I don't, even under Corona, I do not recommend you buy businesses unless you've seen them. We've got kids from last year that are buying businesses that don't see the businesses. That's a recipe for disaster. But little Hitler, Andreas, goes to the fucking place, Corona or no Corona. I mean, the best intentions, you got to go. You got to have boots on the ground. You got to see the shit. You can't just, otherwise you'll be buying 18 power plants in China that don't exist. Well, I forgot that story until I saw him sitting here. But I mean, that was when our youngest son broke his cherry. Young MBA, big, blah, blah, blah. Then, maybe I thought Dad exaggerated, but. And it's the government that was trying to sell us those 18 power plants that weren't there. I mean, if you allow yourself to get fucked over, believe me, you'll get fucked over. Not just in Ireland or the Netherlands or wherever, where I have Now, I made a lot of money in all these places. See, you got to be really slick, smart to fuck me. Yet I've been fucked 3 million times. As smart as I am, as slick as I am, as canny as I am, I've still been fucked 3 million times. Every pore in my body has been fucked at least once. So if you're as slick as I am been fucked, God help you. God help you. Okay, guys.